Dorothy Vaughan was born on September 20th, 1910. At the age of 7, Dorothy moved to Morgantown in West Virginia and graduated from Birchers High School in 1925. While attending college in Wilberforce University, she temporarily stopped her education because she wanted to help her family gain more money during the Great Depression. And even though many of her professors tried to convince her to not pause her education, she did so anyway. In the end, she received a Bachelor of Science degree from Wilberforce University in Ohio and was happily married to Howard Vaughan in 1932 and became a happy family of 8. She divided her time between being a homemaker and a mathematics teacher at Robert Russell Monson High School in Farmville, Virginia, to care for her whole family. However, that changed when she moved to Newport News in Virginia. She was offered a temporary job at National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, otherwise known as NACA, as a mathematician, thanks to Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order 8802. But even with the executive order, state and local laws required colored mathematicians to work separately from their white female counterparts, meaning that there was still lots of segregation happening during these times. She was assigned to the segregated West Area Computing Unit, where she was required to use separate dining and restroom facilities. At NACA, she was responsible for calculating mathematical computations for engineers conducting aeronautical experiments in wind tunnels on the variables affecting drag and lift of aircraft. During this time, a new high-level computer programming language used especially for scientific computation was released and given to NACA, Fortran. Dorothy knew that Fortran was not going to go away, and she needed to learn it fast, or she and all her other colleagues in the West Area Computing Unit were going to lose their jobs. So she sneaked around NACA, trying to figure out how Fortran worked, and even went to libraries, even though she was only allowed to go through the colored section. In the movie Hidden Figures, she even stole a book that explained what Fortran was after being kicked out of the library with her 2 sons.
Segregation must go! Segregation must go! Segregation must go! Segregation must go! Segregation must go!
Pay attention now that we're not part of that trouble. Go on.
Segregation must go! Segregation must go! Segregation must go!
Mind. They must have done.
We don't want any trouble in here.
Oh, I'm not here for any trouble, ma'am.
What are you here for?
A book.
You have books in the colored section.
It doesn't have what I'm looking for.
Well, that's just the way it is.
So now, you know better than
Get
this.
your hands off my boys. Don't touch them.
You have a blessed day.
Separate and equal are 2 different things. Just cause it's the way doesn't make it right. Understand?
Yes, Mama.
You act right, you are right. That's for certain. Understand?
Yes, Mama.
You took that book, Mama?
Son, I pay taxes. And taxes pay for everything in that library. You can't take something you already paid for. Fortran is a new and exciting language used by programmers to communicate with computers. It is exciting as it is the wave of the future.
Fortran was created in 1957 by John Buckus. The name Fortran is an acronym for Formula Translation because it was designed to allow easy translation of math formulas into code, often referred to as a scientific language. Fortran was the first high-level language, using the first compiler ever developed. Prior to the development of Fortran, computer programmers were required to program in machine assembly code, which was an extremely difficult and time-consuming task, not to mention the dreadful chore of debugging the code. The objective during its design was to create a programming language that would be simple to learn and suitable for a wide variety of applications that were machine-independent, and would allow complex mathematical expressions to be stated similarly to regular algebraic notation, while still being almost as efficient in execution as assembly language. It was made for scientists and engineers and has dominated this field. For the past 30 years, Fortran has been used for such projects such as designs of bridges and airplane structures. It is used for factory automation control, for storm drainage system, analysis of scientific data, and so on. After Dorothy taught herself about Fortran, she taught the whole West Computing Unit about Fortran. In 1949, she became the first black supervisor at NACA when she was promoted to the manager of the West Area Computers. The work group was composed entirely of African American female mathematicians. The title gave her rare visibility, and she collaborated with other well-known computer operators on various projects. She also became a dedicated advocate for female employees who deserved promotions or raises, often supporting white women as well. She died on November 10, 2008, and one of her children even ended up working in what is now known to be NASA. Even though she was a woman of color, she proved to many others that sexism and racism doesn't change the fact that we are all human, and with our skills we can achieve anything no matter our race or gender.